Hey folks, how's it going? This is Ram Patra, your host of Ship Happens, where I interview different kinds of indie developers, talk about their apps, their journey, what marketing channels they use, what's their MRR that everyone wants to know, and much more. So today's episode is a very interesting one. So today I will be talking with Amihai. I hope I'm saying that name right. I tried my best. So he is a very interesting person. So he was a software engineer at Microsoft for like 4 or 5 years. He left his job and then went full indie, developed a great app, has a very good YouTube channel with more than 50,000 followers, has created tons of courses online. So, very interesting episode today. We'll talk to Amihai, his journey, how he came to develop a Swift app coming from a .NET background. So he was a .NET developer in Microsoft, and we'll see how he learned Swift and made such a wonderful app called Bananotate. So he is actually making a Figma or Canva alternative that is native and super fast. So let's dive right into it now. Hey, welcome, Amihai.
Hi,
How are
Ryan.
you?
It's great to be here. Doing well.
Yeah,
How are
thanks for
you?
taking the time. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Doing well. So thanks for taking the time for this podcast. I have a series of questions. Your story is quite exciting to me personally, which we will go through in this video. But before we go there, let's start with a brief introduction. Like, do you want to say something about yourself to the viewers?
What should I say? First of all, my name is Amihai. What's up, everybody? I'm a father of two, married to
Wow.
Lior, my beautiful wife. I've been an indie developer for, it's weird calling myself an indie developer, for almost a year. So in about a week, or about a week from today will be a year since I officially left Microsoft.
Wow.
So basically I worked at Microsoft for 5 years, and then I decided to leave Microsoft, try to do my own thing. It's been about a year, and yeah, that's it. I'm building various
Okay.
things.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, I guess.
All right. All right. That's cool. So you worked as a software engineer in Microsoft for 5 years.
Right.
All right.
Something like that. Yeah.
And you started I guess you also have a very good YouTube channel with lots of thousands of followers, if I'm not
hmm
wrong.
Yeah.
So you had your YouTube channel then when you were working with Microsoft?
Yeah. So basically, about I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. I think it was just before my first son was born. For some reason,
Okay.
I thought it would be a good idea to open a YouTube channel, and then
All right.
I
Yeah.
just I just had to work on it like in the nights because he's awake all the time and I'm already awake. So I said, yeah, what the heck, I'll edit already if I'm awake. And I worked on the YouTube
Ah,
channel. I started, so it means it's been 3.5 years, I think, since I opened my YouTube channel.
wow. So I guess you have around 50,000 followers or more, right?
Something like that, yeah. Right.
Wow, that's impressive. So in 3 years, you gained 50,000 followers.
Yeah.
And
So, mhm.
yeah, go ahead.
No, so I didn't have any plans with the YouTube channel. I still don't. So for me, it's just like if there's content that I think will be fun for people to watch or something I want to talk about, then I'll create a video. But other than that, like I don't have big aspirations as a YouTuber. So that's just something that exists. Maybe it helps me get the word out there about various things. But for me, I don't see myself as like an influencer, but more as
Okay.
just a software engineer, Like let me
All
write
right.
code, let me
Yeah.
think about hard questions and problems, philosophical things. I prefer that.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's cool then. So you mostly create content on .NET or whichever thing you're working on that channel? Like you
So
shared that?
only .NET. Oh, I mean, I'll say, yeah, mostly .NET. Like if I show any code whatsoever, then it'll be .NET related. So .NET, C Sharp in that world. I do have some videos that are purely architectural or like like an approach for how to develop software, different approaches. So maybe that won't have code, but it will be like ideas in computer science.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had maybe one video I talked about Swift, just like my experience of working with Swift, but that's it. Like
Okay.
all pure .NET. Yeah.
So, would it be okay to or correct to say that your YouTube channel helped you in moving from a full-time job to indie?
Um, I would say I would say the YouTube channel um opened the door for me to become an indie developer. So for me, like the way I see it, so I started working on the YouTube channel. Then I was approached by now a friend, Nick Chapsas. He runs a platform called Dome Train, if you've heard of it.
No,
And okay, so
I
it's a
haven't.
platform sort of like Pluralsight or Udemy
Ah, okay.
for courses.
So, what's the name again?
It's called Dome Train, Dome.
Ah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I have.
Great.
Yeah.
So basically, he reached out. He said, "What's up? I'm working on this platform. Do you want to be a course author?" And that's when I said, "Yeah,
Okay.
sure, why not?" And I started creating courses on Dome Train, and that's what really enabled me to go full time, like working on the courses.
Ah, I
So I've
see.
been,
So
yeah,
that
right,
okay. So you have a YouTube channel as well as you sell courses on Dome Train.
exactly. So the YouTube channel, it would help me be 100%. Like I wouldn't have been able to leave Microsoft with only the YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is like a ridiculously small percentage of my income. It's like nothing.
Ah,
Like I won't
right.
say
Even
nothing
with
because for every
50,000.
person, yeah, for every person, the the what they can do with, let's say $200 is
Yeah.
different. But for
Yeah.
me,
Exactly.
it's like I have two kids, so for me making
Yeah.
$150 a month from YouTube is nothing. Yeah,
Yeah. Got you. And so, where are you currently living at?
yeah. So I live in Israel near the
And is
center.
that an expensive city? Is that a
So
relatively?
Israel in general is extremely expensive.
Ah.
Extremely expensive. Um, where are you from? Ireland?
Yeah, I'm from Ireland, Dublin. So like here, I would say if you earn like a 2 grand, if you're renting a place, then more than 2 grand you would need to sustain a decent life if you're
Right.
renting. So
So
is the
for
same?
me,
Is it the same in Israel?
yeah, so being transparent, like more or less, I won't say like exact numbers, but more or less, having two kids and a house,
Yeah.
if the household income isn't around, I don't know, let's say 10K after taxes.
10K dollars or
Yeah,
euros or
dollars. Let's say
all right.
after taxes, I would need at least the minimum like 8K after taxes.
All right. Yeah, okay. So it is quite expensive. So Dublin, yeah, which I
Mhm.
mentioned 2 grand, it is in euros and after taxes as well. And that's the minimum, what I said. Yeah, the minimum you need because the
Right,
rent is
right,
crazy here.
right. So here
Yeah.
the rent is like um 3K, something like that.
For
Only
a
the
two
rent.
bed apartment and all.
Oh no, not for like for us. We're living not in the center of the city, so for me it's like a village,
All right.
like half an hour from Tel Aviv.
All
So it's
right.
like a small
Okay.
village, but also here, just the prices are very, very expensive.
Okay. So it's hard
Mhm.
to go indie in Israel then, unless
It's
you
yeah,
have a very good product like
yes,
yours.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, uh, when you just started YouTube and you had like zero followers, like what motivated you to keep pushing and keep creating content? Because
Mhm.
at first you might not have that many followers like today. So, what pushed you to still create
Mhm.
content?
So I was lucky to have a following on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I started on LinkedIn. I posted various code related things. I was lucky to have some following on LinkedIn. And then when I opened the
How much are
channel,
we talking about?
I don't remember, a couple of thousands at the time.
Okay.
And then I opened the channel. I hyped it up a bit that I'm creating now a series about clean architecture and domain-driven design, etc. And that already gave me an initial boost of a few hundred followers before I even released my first video.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was
Wow.
very lucky, yeah, because that gave it a boost. And for the algorithm, of course, it's improved the reach as well. So yeah, in that regards, I was very lucky.
All right. And you created videos like what, weekly, monthly? How frequently you
Hmm.
created videos at the
So
very first?
originally, it was a video every 2 weeks, I think.
All right. Okay.
So I was working full time
And
with a newborn. So for me, also creating each video
oh,
was about, I don't know, like 12 hours of work for a 30-minute video, like editing, filming, preparing everything. So I think a video a week, maybe every 2 weeks.
wow. All right. And then after a couple of months, you started earning? Or
I started earning, I think you need to reach, I think 4,000 watch hours. I think it took me about a month or 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks until I hit the threshold of followers plus watch time.
wow, that is again impressive. Like 3 weeks, you hit like 4,000 viewers, as well as I think back then it was 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers.
Right. I think so.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. Like, are you comfortable like sharing your how much you earn right now from YouTube, like today?
Hmm. Yeah, I won't say like the exact numbers because it changes each month,
Yeah.
but it's around. Let me see. I don't really check that often actually anymore. Let's see. It's just I'm not that active. So the last video I released was about, I think, 2 months ago, maybe.
Ah, okay.
So I'd
But
say
you
this
still,
month,
yeah.
$200 revenue,
Okay.
and that's
All right.
from
So,
around 70,000 views. So this is like a very low month. The maximum would be around, let's say, $500.
okay, per month. Okay. And do you see a decrease in revenue, monthly revenue, when you don't create any content, like a massive decrease in revenue, or it's okay?
Um, there's of course there's a decrease. So when every time I release a video, then there's a spike of views, and then there's more ad revenue. But there's always the some percentage of views that is 100% search and just like natural reach, organic reach of like older videos. So it does make an effect. I think if like it's an interesting question because if I would release videos weekly, then it would be a completely different story. So the overall exposure would have been much higher and the overall revenue would have been much higher. Because I release videos once in a long time, then like it has an impact, but it's a bit hard to say how much of an impact it actually has. It's hard to say. It makes an impact, but not
All
not
right.
not too crazy.
Not much.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. And so you talked about courses as well. So you just sell courses on Dome Train or somewhere else, like some other platform too?
Only Dome Train.
Okay. What stops you from selling the same course and on other platforms?
The contract. Oh, I can create
Okay.
different courses for different platforms, but these specific
Yeah.
courses, then I can't.
Okay. So it's okay. So it's exclusive for that platform that you created.
Right.
Uh, and are you comfortable sharing how much you get from that platform from your courses?
So it will change significantly between months of the year because of course you have Christmas or Black Friday, whatever. So it will change, but it's enough for me to be able to leave Microsoft. Let's say it that way. Like it's enough that I'm able to work full time now on my side projects, and that I don't have to
Wow.
work on Microsoft. Right.
That is super cool. So, And you have just one course there or multiple courses?
I have 27 courses. So like it sounds like
wow.
it sounds like a huge number, but it's 4 courses that are like standalone courses. And then there's a course for every single design pattern. And these are shorter half an hour to an hour course. So that's the rest, the other 23.
Okay, and it's all based on .NET?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So would you like to name some of the courses, like some of the best courses?
So I have 2 courses for clean architecture. So getting started with clean architecture and deep dive into clean architecture. These are courses for if anyone is interested to understand the core concept behind clean architecture and how to implement it. In the deep dive, we talk about like authorization, authentication, how it's properly implemented, where the logic sits in the correct layer according to this architectural pattern. Then I have 2 courses for domain-driven design. Domain-driven design is a topic that is it's not that straightforward to create a course for, because there are various interpretations for what's included in domain-driven design. So in domain-driven design, I have also 2 courses, Getting Started and Deep Dive. In the Getting Started, it covers basically all the theory in like a holistic manner. So yeah, there's a lot of theory, and because it can be hard to learn only theory, then it's anchored to like a real example. So throughout the entire course, then we always go back to this complex example that should be built following domain-driven design. So we build this gym management system where admins can create gyms and create rooms inside gyms and gym sessions inside rooms, and you have trainers and participants, blah, blah, blah. It's like a very large and complex system, and we tackle it, we build it, like we actually implement it in .NET, and then we anchor it to the theory back and forth. So that's the getting started. Right. And the deep dive is like taking a step back and diving even deeper into the theory of domain-driven design, how you even go about understanding how you take such a complex domain and break it up into subdomains, embedded context, etc.
Okay, that sounds cool.
And all the rest are just like design patterns. So like adapter design pattern, visitor, all the gang of 4 design patterns.
Okay. And you mentioned when talking about the courses. So do you have a team that created the course, or just you?
No, just me.
Okay. And so it's kind of like you do live coding there as well, like you code and you show live examples, as well as you have some presentations that you show with diagrams and all in the courses.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So in those courses, you started using Presentify and annotation tool that you were mentioning?
Right. So you're asking a great question. So I started working on Windows. Okay. And on Windows, I used a software called Zoomit. You're probably familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked Zoomit. Switched to macOS at some point for rendering videos, mainly. And then I started using macOS more often. And I really didn't have a good app, sort of like Zoomit, for macOS. Searched, found Presentify. Presentify was like my number one, way better than any other piece of software that I found for that specific need. And that's how I got to Presentify, basically. Yeah.
Wow, nice. But I'm sure that you will be now using the other app all the time. Yeah.
Honestly, I stopped using Presentify because, I'm asking you on Twitter for like, I need this feature. Remember? I sent you, like, I tagged you and I told you, I need this, I need that. And at some point I was like, I wonder how hard it is to implement this. And I started working on it, and here I am, like 5 months later or 6 months later.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that now next. So that's cool to see. At first, I thought it would be a Presentify competitor, but now when I see the app, the features, it's way beyond Presentify and a lot of additional features. I more feel like it's a competitor to Figma or Canva and all those kind of apps. So yeah, it has grown to be quite powerful now. Yeah, that's
Right.
great. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can actually jump to that. So that's you actually mentioned or touched on the story that what made you start making that app, because you needed this features, XYZ features. And as I don't get enough time to work on this because I have a full-time job and other things, so maybe yeah, one day if I go full indie, I'll be fully into Presentify and all the apps. So you decided to build an app like Presentify. So would you talk a little bit about the app that you built?
Right. So it's called Bananotate, first of all. So it's like banana and annotate. The name, originally in the first like 2 weeks, I was thinking to call it Presentic, like Presentify, but Presentic, like fantastic. But then I said, it will sound too much like Presentify, and I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to create your app, because that wasn't the purpose. So I said, I won't call it Presentic because of Presentify. And then I came up with Bananotate eventually.
Thanks for that. Okay. All right. So you said that you were working as a .NET developer in your career. So how did you move to Swift UI? Like I guess you built this with Swift and Swift UI and some AppKit maybe.
Right. So it's Swift, Swift UI, AppKit. There's some core graphics, various things I had to like implement completely like bare metal from scratch, just because Swift UI is pretty crappy sometimes. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's just either too slow or just not configurable enough.
Yeah.
But yes, it's 100% Swift, Swift UI, AppKit, etc.
So did you like do some courses first before starting your building your app, or you straight away built your
So
app?
I started working on the app in August. So it's been how much? 6 months, I guess. Something like that. Started working on it in August, and I basically opened the ChatGPT or Claude. Sorry, I opened Claude. And I was like, what's up? Want to build this software, explain more or less what I want. I took the code, copy pasted it to Xcode, played around with it, and just went on from there. Never ever watched not a tutorial on Swift UI. Not talking about a course. I never even watched like a video about Swift or Swift UI. So like everything I know is 100% learning it passively.
Wow. So this is a great example of using AI, and basically you learned by doing. So did you use Cursor back then, or no, just Claude and your own IDE?
So Xcode was a terrible experience for me. So for me, it's like very important that I can configure everything, that everything is fast, that I can switch between files. And Xcode was just, I couldn't stand it. So I immediately said, okay, I got to find something better. I switched to VS Code. VS Code has also a pretty, not a great support for Swift or in Swift UI. At least from, again, what I experienced. I tried various extensions, wasn't able to create something very like it doesn't flow that much. It's not like you start writing and then you automatically get autocomplete and everything works as you expect. It's always just a bit clunky. Anyway, I used VS Code, but because I'm working VS Code and Claude, or VS Code and ChatGPT, or VS Code and Grok, each time I try whatever best coding model exists. So because I work directly with Claude, then I don't really need the IDE features. All I need is to be able to quickly fetch the context for the LLM. So I can open the editor real quick, just copy all the relevant files, throw everything to Claude, and then ask the question and just paste the code back and do that again and again and again and again.
Okay, so that was your initial approach, like back then in August.
That's exactly what I did today, all day, and yesterday. Still exactly, right. It's what I do. Yeah.
So you don't use Cursor or Windsurf or any other AI IDEs?
None of them. I tried. I don't. It's not for me.
I see.
Too
So,
slow. Yeah.
you every time you ask a question, you copy the relevant or related code to the LLM and to provide context, and then
Hmm.
ask the question.
So I'll give some background for those watching that aren't familiar with the app. So basically,
Yeah.
Bananotate is, you can think of it like OneNote meets Photoshop, more or less. So like you can very easily draw on the screen and create shapes, etc. But you can also do like advanced alignments and editing and like image manipulation, stuff like that. Now, the app, as you would expect, behind the scenes, it's more or less just a ton of points and rectangles and hex colors and images if there are images, stuff like that. And it's just manipulations on these dots. So transformations are mathematical equations on these dots. And everything is like around that. So, as you would expect, working on this app for like 5 months, we're talking about, I don't know, a couple tens of thousands of lines of code already. And like of hardcore mathematical equations, like curving the lines and stuff like that. Creating, computing the bounds. There's like so much math that just goes into it. Now,
Yeah.
when I want to create a new feature, it's impossible to provide all the code as the context, just because the context
Yeah.
window of AIs isn't large enough to support that. So, what I need to do is to be familiar enough with the code base to be able to grab the relevant parts of the code, have them more or less stand alone so the LLM can understand the rest by itself, and be able to ask my
Okay.
question. And Cursor, they're not built for this scale of projects. They can't.
Exactly.
So for me, what I know as a human is where everything sits. I know how to implement it theoretically. I'm not like a Swift developer. So I don't know Swift perfectly. So developing it myself, I mean, I can implement various things myself. I many times do if Claude isn't smart enough for that specific feature. But most of the time, it's always I ask myself, will it be faster if I implement it, or will it be faster and have less bugs if Claude implements it? And
Yeah.
it's usually the second answer. So for me, it's just knowing
Okay.
where everything is, throwing everything to Claude, asking a question, and then pasting the code back. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you have seen the recent tweet from Peter Levels. So if you follow Peter Levels, so he's also trying to make a game in Cursor,
Mm-hmm. Flight
and yeah,
simulator. Yeah.
yeah, he was showing his progress, and I think yesterday he posted like since yesterday he started seeing Cursor is not able to handle the
Mm-hmm.
app or the context anymore. Yeah, as you were saying, like it has a
Mm-hmm.
limit, and after the app grows beyond a certain point, yeah, it struggles basically. And even it's
Exactly.
my experience. Yeah, it has been my experience as well. Yeah, yeah, and also I've seen for web related projects like websites and web apps and all,
Mm-hmm.
I find Cursor even more better rather than compared to the Swift apps or native apps. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen Cursor, yeah, helping better in that area. Even when
Right,
I was
right,
building this, yeah, yeah. So
right, right.
that's interesting, actually. Yeah, I need to try that. So I'm also planning to build a couple of more small apps, not a bigger ones. So yeah, I'll give your approach a try then. So then you write your code on VS Code, and then when you run it, you again run it on Xcode, or do you have a trick to run directly from VS Code? You build and run from VS Code?
So I build, run, deploy 100% of everything from VS Code and the terminal.
Oh, okay.
And it's just throwing the code. It's literally just throwing each time, let's say 10,000 lines of code, properly selected from various files, asking a question, using that, and again and again.
Okay. So do you use an extension or your some commands to build and run the project on VS Code? Or is there a easy to use extension that one can just download?
So for me, I just run Swift run in the terminal.
Ah, okay.
That's it. And for deploying, because right when deploying an app, or I don't know if you deploy apps this way, because I don't do it through the App Store. I just have my custom DMG.
Yeah.
So I have like the Apple developer certificate, whatever. I need to send the app to the notary system
Yeah.
get the approval, whatever, that flow. So I have scripts that do everything for me. Everything
All right.
from updating the version to the README to copying the assets to sending it to the system, notary system to uploading the DMG to AWS, deploying the website. Everything is automated. Just in the terminal, deploy. That's it.
Wow, that's cool. So you have your own CI/CD thing for this app.
Again, I don't know anything of. I know it works and it works well. I didn't write any of it myself. Same for the app, right? So the computations, the math there, I don't really know the underlying math. I just know that the behavior is exactly the way I want it to be. And if it's not, then I'll do more iterations on it.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. Yes. This is AI in real life, huh?
Right. Actually, I didn't meet many that use AI this way. So because I tried using Grok and OpenAI, like the various models. So O1 preview at the time, now O3. I've tried all the various models, and just none of them are able to like make. Also, DeepSeek lately, I tried. None of them are able to properly handle a large amount of context. So for me, it's like I need to give it 10K lines of code, and then I can ask my question. And the only one that's able to do it properly as of today is Claude.
Okay. Yeah, that was actually my next question. Yeah, did you try different models and which was the best? So I guess you answered that. So Claude has worked best for you building this app.
Yesterday, I played with Grok for a few hours.
Okay.
And
the new Grok?
Yeah. And it's just not as good, because sometimes you have computations, for example, for text annotations, then the location is based on a specific point plus the bounds, and when the text is flipped, blah, blah, blah. There's like all this complex computations that only Claude is able to properly analyze it and give me the proper code that makes it work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The same experience I have had. I tried both web applications and native applications. In both cases, Claude wins for me until now. Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
It keeps answering in React, which drives me crazy. I give it a ton of Swift code, and I tell her, help me out, and she gives me React code. I'm like, dude, I gave you Swift. She's like, oh, right. I'm sorry. She apologizes.
So yeah, speaking of React, why did you decide to go with Swift and not React, or like a hybrid app that you can export for Windows to Windows and Mac and Linux maybe?
So the website is React. That's why I'm thinking about React. But for the client, then, or for the Mac OS client, I just don't think it's possible, to be honest. I don't think it's possible to create an app that will run on Mac OS on top of all the other apps, properly compute, because it needs to be like extremely accurate, the various computations, when you flip annotations, etc. Depending on the screen, how many screens you have, if you open the app on this screen or on that screen, the position of the various toolbars. Because my app is running on top of all the other screens, it's not just running inside its own rectangle app, it's running on top of everything, and it needs to have like a transparent background. I don't think it's possible to create it not natively. Maybe it is, but I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I've seen a couple of hybrid apps, annotation hybrid apps that were built, but they don't have features, comprehensive set of features like Bananotate.
Yeah,
it's a tongue twister for me.
It is the name. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that's cool. So now you made this app with Swift. You launched your initial version there. I tried it. Yeah, it was great. I felt great. Even the first version. So how did you get your first customers? Like, what did you do to get your first customers?
So most of the traffic I'm talking about, also because it's freemium, so there's also the free version. Then most of the traffic, the downloads, the traffic to the website, and eventually the paying customers, most of it is from Reddit, from the Mac Apps subreddit.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's only like collaborations with different affiliates. So people who work on lifetime deals and they get the word out there to their subscribers or members.
All right. Okay. So you didn't publish it. Yeah, I guess I saw a couple of videos. You published this on your YouTube channel as well.
Yes, my YouTube channel, but because it's .NET, everyone uses Windows. It's just not the target audience.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. All right.
Unfortunately.
And yeah. Okay. And YouTube, from YouTube, I guess you also have a decent set of number of followers on YouTube. So did YouTube? Sorry, not YouTube. Sorry, Twitter. You have a decent number of followers on Twitter. So did Twitter help?
No, not really. I didn't try to use Twitter as a platform to get followers, to get downloads. But as of today, no, like I'd say 0 downloads from Twitter.
Okay. So how do you track the downloads from which platform, how many downloads you get? How do you track that?
So from visits to the website, etc., that's Google Analytics.
All right. Okay.
Tracking downloads, I store like the city, the country, and which version they download for whoever downloads the app. For downloading, you don't need to provide any sensitive information. Generally, in Bananotate, none of the information is stored on my end. Everything is local. So for downloading specifically, I store the city, the country, and the version, and the date and time, of course. And then I can see how many downloads a day, how many downloads a month.
Yeah, and the platform from which they came to your website, that also?
No. No, actually, I don't have that. I don't have that stored.
Okay.
So for me, it's just from like Google Analytics. I can see no one comes from Twitter.
Okay. All right. Okay. So thanks for that again. Thanks for like featuring your app on Apps.deals. Like you featured it 2 times. So thanks for that, for being so generous, because I have set the price as $25, but you paid way more than that for both of the times. I hope you got some customers during the Black Friday. I know now it's getting a little bit less traffic. Also, I haven't done much of the publicity recently because I'm adding a few more features, which after I add, I will be. But hopefully during the Black Friday, you got some decent number of downloads from that website.
Yes, definitely. Okay. I forgot to mention Apps.deals. Yes, that was good. It's interesting. How do you track? Like, do you track how many people go use which promo and etc.? How do you track that?
Yeah, same Google Analytics as well. But I am planning to try PostHog. I've heard great things about PostHog as well, and it seems a bit more developer friendly or user friendly to me to define pipelines and all that, the analytics pipeline. So I'll try that. Until now, it's just Google Analytics, and I'm also planning to add a ref code or somewhere, like whichever website link you mention on your app.
Right.
Through that also I'll track now. Yeah, it was just an experiment. I actually built that because I reached out to Indie App Santa and App Advice. So these are the 2 main platforms that list apps that are on discount. So I reached out to both of them, and I have heard great things about these 2 platforms, that you get thousands of downloads each day. But they said that they are only for iOS. And I then searched, okay, what's the platform for Mac apps then? And I couldn't find any. So that's the reason I built it. So it's only for Mac apps.
Apps.deals. It's a really good website. Good domain.
Yeah, it was a premium domain. So I have bought it, but still GoDaddy lists this domain for $100K. I don't know why. It's listed
maybe because they want to like... Maybe if someone is willing to pay that, then they'll contact you and they'll try to negotiate.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, Yeah, I think so too. Okay, that's cool. But I didn't pay 100K for that for sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
buying a
did
domain
pay
is so easy. Did you buy domains and didn't and never use them? Do you have domains that you bought
lot
and you
of
never
domains.
used? Yeah, exactly.
Lots of them.
Exactly, me too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I heard that there was a company, I think from China, that they bought all the permutations, like all the three-digit, 4 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters, five
Wow.
letters, all the
Dot
permutations,
com?
.com domain. Yeah,
Wow,
.com.
wow, wow, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Smart.
couple of years ago. Yeah.
It's expensive. You can't find even I searched I think yesterday or the day before that for banano.com. Like banana but with an
Okay.
O in the end. And it also was extremely expensive. And I was like, why is it so expensive? And it's just because the name is short.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays, domain is crazy. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
if I've heard. There's a guy called Dharmesh, like he's the CEO of HubSpot. Like he sold chat.com to ChatGPT
Wow,
for
for how
many
much?
million dollars.
Wow.
At
Think about
least 10
X.com.
million.
That
Yeah.
must have been
Yeah.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. Okay. So you have already mentioned a lot of things about your apps.
Mhm.
So, what advice would you give, like who is starting just now, like starting their indie journey, or who has their full-time job, have or planning to start their indie journey on the side, and maybe someday go full-time? Like,
Mhm.
what advice would you give them?
So it has like a few layers. So as a course author on clean architecture, domain driven design, various design patterns, it's very easy to try to perfect the architecture in the beginning, which will 9 times out of 10, especially for building like side projects, will be a complete waste of time because you'll be wasting all this time. You'll be building, let's say, something marvelous, and then you'll put it on the shelf and no one will use it. When if you would have just built it quick and dirty just to create something, the velocity is much faster. And today you have Claude, you have Open, you have ChatGPT, you have Grok, you have DeepSeek. Many of these are completely free. You can literally use DeepSeek. DeepSeek, I guess it ends very quickly the I don't know tokens that you have as a user, but for Grok and ChatGPT and Claude, you can just switch between them nonstop. Switch Google accounts for Claude, etc., etc. And you can use Claude and the other LLMs to quickly iterate over your code. You can create something very quick and dirty, finish that, and then when you need to or when you have some bottleneck, use the LLMs to refactor your code. So, for example, my app, I have hundreds of keyboard shortcuts and commands and like fuzzy searching and various other things that are like each one in its own at some point was very quick and dirty. And almost all the various components with time have been improved. For example, rendering, I had an issue with rendering. I would move annotations across the screen or resized, and it would get very choppy. And that's when I had to do a deep dive into when Swift UI decides to re-render different components. So like when you need to, then take care of it. But until then, especially if you're working alone, it's not because many of these architectures and design patterns are important for scale of developers and scales of projects. So you may be working on it alone, but you have thousands of commands. So you need a proper structure for that. Or you have a pretty smallish code base, but you have many developers. So it's for those cases. But if it's just you working on something, go crazy. Like until you have, let's say, 20K lines of code, just do whatever works. Make sure that you can copy paste it easily to the LLM, but that's really all you need. That's my advice.
All right, that's quite practical advice. So basically, what you're saying is launch fast, put it out there, see the response, and then iterate.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't
Somewhat.
launch that fast. I mean, I built it pretty fast because of my use of AI. So but I'm not a fan of like shipping things that are crappy
Yeah,
personally,
that's true.
or charging money for things that are crappy. Like there's this trend of like just
Yeah.
marketing something, getting customers upfront without any product whatsoever. I think that's a bit fishy. I'm not a fan of that. But
Yeah.
yes, definitely just like build fast. I don't know, ship fast. That maybe is another story, but build fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good distinction. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories. I think you must have also heard on Twitter, like the ship fast
Hmm.
saga. Okay.
Right, right. Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. I'm not. Like I think, for example, for me, the very first version, I didn't release it until I knew that the app can't be easily hacked. That everything is like either encrypted or um or like the very signatures are verified. Like I wanted to make sure that users when they start using it, because in the end, when working with users' data, this is maybe me coming from Microsoft, and there's like a big emphasis on it. But if working with people's data is very, very sensitive, either it's their personal information, which should never ever be leaked or leakable, or their own content that they're creating when using your app, that if they lose it, they may have just spent 3 hours building something and now it's completely lost. So I think I wouldn't say ship too fast. I would say ship
mm,
when you're confident that people aren't going to get pissed at you.
yeah. Yeah, and once they lose trust, it's very hard to regain that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. So do you hire, so speaking of like proper testing of the apps, like proper quality, do you hire like contractors to test your app, or you yourself test it
I
after you
myself.
develop it?
So because I've been using Figma for a few years and various other editing apps, um, so I know exactly how I want it to behave,
Okay.
and I'll just play with it nonstop until it's perfect. Like until I'm happy with, until it matches or is even better than what I expect from the other apps. That's when I'll put it aside and I'll move on to the next thing.
Ah, all right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for payments, what payment gateway do you use?
Mhm.
Stripe or
I
Polar
used
or what?
PayPal in the beginning.
Sorry?
I used PayPal in the beginning.
Ah,
PayPal
yeah.
checkout.
Okay. All right.
Many people complained. I switched following just like because PayPal, you couldn't use Apple Pay, you couldn't use Google Pay. Using credit cards sometimes failed for some reason. So I just wanted like a seamless experience. And Stripe,
Yeah.
unfortunately, isn't available in Israel, so you can't use Stripe.
Ah, I see.
So I'm using today Paddle for about 3 weeks.
Ah, okay. Recently, it's a recent change then. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you developed your own license management software yourself, or did
Right,
you
right. So
use
I
any
also have a
open source
backend.
or?
No, I also have a backend where that also is using JavaScript, Express, Fauna DB, Fauna query language. Thanks, Claude.
Yeah. Okay, and that's hosted on AWS as well.
That's hosted on Netlify.
Ah, yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's serverless. Yeah. So why did you go with Netlify and not Vercel or some other serverless provider?
Yeah, no special reason. For me, I don't mind paying a platform if I get what I need, but I also don't want to pay money to a platform if it's just a waste of money. So that's more or less how I came to use Netlify and Fauna, if you're familiar with Fauna.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't worked with.
So Fauna as well. And basically I was to reduce costs in the end. So I'm paying $15 a month to Netlify,
Yeah.
$15 a month to Fauna, $5 for a Google premium account, whatever it's called, for sending out automated
Other.
emails, etc., etc. And
The Google Workspace or Google Business Suite?
right. $5 for
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And that's it. Those are all my expenses.
Okay. And you don't use any CRM or something to handle support tickets and all? Do you use any CRMs or just email?
No, I have a Discord channel and
Okay.
email,
Yeah.
and I'm just extremely responsive. I listen to all the various, like I also have a GitHub. No one reached out, but I also have GitHub. I just opened accounts all over the place so people can reach out wherever they feel comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you use any paid advertisements for your apps to get traction?
I wasted like $100 on Google advertising.
Okay. You didn't
Complete
see
waste of
any.
money for me,
Ah.
at least. Yeah. Do you use?
No, but I'm planning to. So, yeah, I was actually interested in using app store ads like the one
Mm-hmm.
that Apple has, but they only have for iOS, unfortunately. They don't
Mm.
have for Mac App Store. So I was planning to use that.
Right, right.
But no, I haven't.
It's such a
But
waste
I've
of money
heard,
for me. I paid like $8 per click. Something like ridiculous. Like $8 for someone to click on the link to the website. Not even buying, just like, or not even downloading the app, just like clicking on the link to the website. After like a week, I was like, no.
oh, that is quite expensive. So when you set Google Ads, there's this target, I guess, the goal you set. So if you set the goal as downloads or something, then they charge by downloads. So you can set charge by downloads. So did you try
Mm,
that?
I didn't. My wife took care of that.
Ah, okay. All
Right.
right.
I'm
Okay.
the one that
Yeah,
said, cancel it, cancel it. It's not working, cancel it.
Okay. So, and you didn't try ads on Reddit or X or some other platform?
Nothing else, not yet. So I'm now that the product is established. Maybe it's like a curse of indie developers where they just want a few more features before they market hardcore, right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah, exactly.
as if anyone knows what the latest feature you're working on your side project. But for me,
Yeah.
like there were a few things that were very important for me to create, and now I'm confident of the product and the value that the product has. So
Yeah.
now, alongside development, I'm looking to go all in on marketing. So up until now, I
Okay.
didn't spend money on that.
Actually, that's exactly the reason I haven't marketed my apps. Because, yeah, just wait for the next feature. Yeah, and then I'll market.
Right. And then you have another feature.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also short form content nowadays, like TikToks or
Mhm.
Instagram Reels and all that. So, are you planning to do that as well?
I wish someone else would do it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
planning to do it. I wish someone else would do it for me. But it's in the plans. Just for now, I've been focusing on development.
Okay. Okay. So, you plan to hire or outsource this to someone? Maybe.
I don't know. I got to do my homework to understand what works best. Because again, I don't mind
Yeah.
spending however much money I need on it, but I also don't want to waste the money. So I need to understand first really what works and go from there, or just try and iterate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But
Makes
marketing is
sense.
hard. I mean, how do you have any marketing strategy for Mac OS applications?
No, basically, I think you are already doing it like Reddit, blogs, yeah, YouTube content. So I reached
Mm-hmm.
out to a couple of YouTubers at first, and then it spread. So if you see on YouTube, like if you search Presentify, there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
YouTubers, like way more videos on Presentify from than me. So I created like a couple of videos, but other
Mm-hmm.
YouTubers have created way more than me.
Listen,
So
I
yeah,
reached
that
out
right.
to many content creators telling them,
Yeah.
here's a
Okay.
free license, use it, review it, no strings attached whatsoever, and almost zero responses.
Are they quite famous? Like if they are famous, then I think.
Right, from let's say 50K plus followers, zero
Mm,
responses. Yeah, mostly
okay.
like almost zero. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they have a lot many followers, they prefer like a one-time payment model, like you pay
Mm-hmm.
something to create a content on your app, then they
Right.
respond.
Right. So so here's the thing. Like for me, I don't mind spending the price range for such a paid collaboration. Do you know how much it is?
Yeah, it
More or
depends on
less.
the followers. Yeah,
So
it
let's
depends
say
on the
someone with a
followers, like
million
how many
followers, or
subscribers.
let's say 400,000 followers. Do you know how much it is, more or less?
Uh, yeah. So yeah, they charge upwards of 5K at least
So
to
from what
me,
I
at least to
saw in
me,
the
from my
YouTubers
experience.
that I wanted, sometimes, like specific people who review macOS applications and stuff like that. So they wanted, or what they advertise at least, is 20 to 30K upfront.
They must be having a million, maybe. They must be
Right.
having
So
a
there's some
million.
of them have millions, right? So
Ah, yeah, okay.
it's not something I'm not willing to pay, but I first need to find the right person. And to do the math, will the exposure make the
Yeah.
difference? Or I got to think it through.
Yeah. I am okay to pay a cut of all the sales that they generate. So that would be a
Mm-hmm.
great model. Like I'm okay to pay 50% of the profit. Like whatever download you generate, you take 50%.
Mm-hmm.
So if they agree to that, that would be great, but they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried.
Right. So that's exactly what I did with a few lifetime deal uh, forums, I guess. So for them, I
Yeah.
did some percentage of some commission on the sales, and that works great. But the scale is just not there. It's not like YouTubers with millions of followers.
Okay. So you did make some deals with some YouTubers, like
Not
take a
YouTubers, not
cut and all.
YouTubers. No. So it's
Ah,
not
okay.
YouTubers. It's like there's, for example, this guy called Ken Moo. He has a YouTube page with like 18,000 people that share lifetime deals. So I
Okay.
gave them a specific discount with a promo code, and I gave him a commission for each sale. So that, for
All
example,
right.
is what I'm talking about, right?
Okay, got you. Yeah, I'll check him out. Yeah, I haven't heard of this guy's name or the platform. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. They share
And
really well, really good products with great prices. Yeah,
mm,
highly
okay, I've
recommended.
heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, I'll see. And did you try Bundle Hunt or AppSumo or very few heard of this one called Jamf, so JAMF. So I am actually planning to try this. So because all the big corporates they use JAMF, Jamf. I pronounce it as Jamf. I'm not sure if I'm saying it
Mm-hmm.
right. So they have this. So it's kind of like an app store for corporate employees. So they
Mm-hmm.
download apps from there. So I think
Mm.
I need to list my app there so that I can target all the corporate
Interesting.
employees.
Interesting. Right. So for me, because I'm creating a software that's for UI UX developers or designers, let's just call it designers, product managers, and educators, of course. So
Yeah.
for me, the next step will be B2B. But
Mhm.
also that I have zero experience, so that's that's basically what I'm. That's the next step. That's what I'm doing now.
All right. So you will be providing cloud features and all, like multiple people can edit and do stuff on the same board.
So that's not planned as a first stage. That is something that eventually, maybe a few months down the line, let's say a year from today. But the first features will be cloud sync. So I don't know if you know,
Mm.
but you can create like various files, like
Yeah.
various boards. So you can create like an infinite amount of boards, and then teams can put their visual resources there and easily share it between them, export the work to Bananotate files, send the files to one another, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this was implemented by LLM,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Of course,
Wow.
I
That's
have
cool.
to know how it works for me to be able to
Yeah.
debug it and ask follow-up questions. But like the nitty-gritty of how the math computation for taking a line and making it look smoother, no clue.
Mm. Wow. Loving the age we are in now. Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Building this without the help of AI would have taken me minimum 2-3 years. Minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum. In this quality, I'd say 2-3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's like having your own small team working
Yeah,
with a
100%.
LLM. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I guess, yeah, we are approaching the end of this podcast. It has been great, like listening to you. So do you mind, like, just to finish it off, sharing how much do you earn from Bananotate?
So I launched Bananotate, I think 4 months ago, something like that. I launched it, and total revenue around a bit more than $12K.
Okay.
So
That's
basically around almost 300 paying customers.
That's cool. And do you see a recurring revenue here, or was it just one time during Black
It's
Friday
one
and all?
time.
Because
It's one-time payment. The app itself is a one-time payment.
yeah, the app is one time, but do you see a recurring revenue that you get every month? More or less?
Right. So it will change dramatically between months, because if I post on Reddit and there's something interesting about the post, then it'll get a spike. But if I don't post, then it'll be very gradual, like drops here and there of download sales. So every time I have a good exposure, then there's a wave of like a few hundred downloads, a few tens of sales. So my conversion from free to paid is around 8%. So around 8% of free users become paid users, or people who download the app, more correctly. About 1 in 12 end up buying the app. So for me, it's just a numbers game.
Nice.
So, and it will change based on the exposure.
Wow, that is quite nice. And you don't plan to release it on the App Store or any other store? Why?
So I'm thinking about it. For example, I can very easily add iPad support. It already works with a pen. It's Swift UI and AppKit is already out of the box, sort of, or almost. It supports pretty well work on an iPad. And that would make it much easier to ship it to the App Store, also for iPad and also for macOS. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided yet if I want to give up the 30% to Apple. Plus, I like controlling everything. So I like that I can deploy things immediately, how many ever times I want. I like being able to control the entire pipeline.
Yeah, it's not 30%. I think it's 15% until you get 1 million a year.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, they changed it like after I launched. So when I first launched, it was 30, but after a couple of months after I launched, it was 15. So I was very happy. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing how many users, not like revenue, but how many users overall purchase Presentify?
Oh yeah, lots now. So I have to see, because it has been like 5-6 years now since I launched.
Wait. Can I guess before you say?
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing. Woof. Oh, I am. Let's say 180,000.
180,000,
yeah.
Oh wow, that's too much.
Or less.
So
I don't know.
less than that. Yeah, 180,000. No, it will be less than that, but yeah, less than that. Definitely less than that, and that too if I combine both Setapp and App Store. Yeah.
Right. I actually talked to Setapp, and they were just very busy in the end of last year. So I may talk to them again. Maybe I gotta think it through.
Yeah, that would be also another platform. And I think it's not public yet, or maybe it's public, but they are also going to soon launch an app store of their own.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
another
exciting
option,
times.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we have covered most of the questions. Yeah. So do you have any last comments to make, or we can call it a day?
Um, I guess that's it. Join the Discord server for Bananotate. If you have any feature
Yeah,
requests, then
definitely.
definitely reach out. I'm very responsive. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Cool. Cool, Amihai. So it was great talking to you. All the best
You
with your
too.
app.
You
And
too.
I guess,
Thank you for having
yeah,
me. Nice meeting you
yeah. Thanks.
finally.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, same here. Yeah, we will be doing a couple more podcasts on different topics later on, and let's see how this goes. Okay, all the best. Talk
Fantastic.
to you
I'm sure
soon.
it will be great. Thank you, Ram.
Yeah, thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye for now.
All right, so this is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you have any questions for me or for Amihai, please drop down in the comment section below and we'll be happy to answer them. Or you can reach out to us on X or Discord or any other social media channels, or just drop an email. And if you would like to support this channel or this series, please drop a like or subscribe to the channel, or please buy one of our apps and support this channel. Okay, so see you in the next one. Bye bye then.